My whole life, everyone told me to stop being argumentative, asking so many questions, and just stop being so difficult. But these annoying traits are exactly what made me over $250,000 last year. That's not including the $4 million worth of stock options I got from my company. Here's why being difficult might be your superpower to making over $200,000. If you've ever been called stubborn, pushy, or annoying, this video might change your life. What's up? I'm Dwayne Golden Jr. I went from being a failing car salesman making under minimum wage to a VP of sales at a $20 billion tech company making over $250,000 a year without any college degree. And it was all because I was difficult. Let me explain what I mean by that. Picture this. You're in a dinner with friends and they want to go to some overpriced restaurant and you're asking like, hey, why are we paying $40 for a burger when there's a better place right down the street? They're going to call you cheap. They'll call you argumentative. But here's the truth. These traits, they're not flaws. These are $1 million skills wrapped in negative labels. The difficult traits that companies pay for may not be appreciated by the people around you. Let me break down exactly what I mean by that. One of the first traits that I see is people say you may ask too many questions, or they may call you being nosy or overanalyzing. When in reality, it's called due diligence or being curious. Companies are willing to pay for someone who can discover a customer's needs, someone who asks questions. A second trait that some people may call annoying or whatever is not taking no for an answer. What they may call being pushy or just stubborn, in reality, is called persistence. Companies are willing to pay for this. Companies call this overcoming objections. A third trait, arguing your point. Maybe they think you're confrontational, but in reality, you're advocating for yourself or you're advocating for a friend. What companies are willing to pay for is called negotiation skill. Notice that we're simply reframing what people may have labeled negatively in the past to something that's actually worth paying for. So those are three traits that other people may not like, that they may consider being difficult. Let me show you how I discovered this myself. I was selling cars, like I mentioned before, making under minimum wage, and my manager would say, just show them the car, demo it, and close the deal. And I would continue asking questions. I would say, hey, this isn't working for me. Can you give me a step-by-step? Tell me like what questions I should be asking. What should I be doing? And it was annoying to them that I was asking this stuff. I was just trying to figure out how to make it work. So you know what? I came up with my own strategy. I found the top salesman at the dealership, and I agreed to give away 50% of my commissions if he would just let me be in the room while he sold. I would give away half of the deals. I just wanted to hear exactly what he said so I could know the questions to ask. After doing this for 2 months, I went on to be one of the top salesmen in the entire dealership. These are the same traits that my manager called difficult. These things are what made me successful. It's crazy that people may look at as a negative today, and what may just be part of the fabric of who you are can be so discounted where you don't even value it yourself. But people are willing to pay for it. There are sales rewards for being difficult. Here's what nobody tells you. Sales is the only career where being difficult is an advantage. In HR, you get written up for asking too many questions, right? In retail, you get fired for challenging a manager. In tech support, you're told to stick to the script. But in sales, it's different. In sales, the difficult traits become your superpower. Asking questions, understanding a customer's needs equals closing deals. Being persistent, following up, not leaving money on the table, this stuff pays big money. Challenging common assumptions equals finding the real problem. So if a customer says something, you don't take it at face value. You're willing to challenge common thought. This is stuff that people pay big money for. I took these same skills that I had naturally from childhood and moved it into software sales. I went from making less than minimum wage to over $250,000 without any degree, just my difficult personality channeled correctly. What traits do you have that you're not capitalizing on? Think about this. I want to give you some real life numbers. The average salesperson closes about 20% of deals. However, the difficult people who ask more questions and ask deeper questions on average close around 30 to 40%. So if the average rep closes $100,000 in deals, the difficult one closes $150,000. That's an extra $50,000 in sales. Not taking no for an answer, right? Most reps stop after 2 to 3 objections, but the difficult people will push through 5 to 7 objections. If every deal you close nets you $10,000, that could get you an additional 5 plus more sales in a year, right? That's $50,000 in extra sales. Following up relentlessly, right? 80% of deals, they say, you can Google this, 80% of deals require five or more follow-ups. while 80% of salespeople stop after just 1 or 2. So these traits, they can turn out to actual cash in your bank account. Maybe you've been thinking to yourself, maybe you've allowed people to give you these negative labels your entire life. I understand. I respect that. I've been there. I've been that difficult guy. I remember what it's like being so broke. Literally, I went to my car dealership. Shortly after arriving at my dealership, my car was repoed. While I was at work, because I was that freaking broke, I couldn't afford my car. If I'm you, don't let your current state define where you're going. If you're stuck at $100,000 but you haven't touched $200,000, this stuff can work for you. I would encourage you, do not allow anybody's label on you to define where you're gonna go. Here's some practical steps I would do to turn your difficult personality into dollars. Step number 1, list out your negative feedback people have given you and write down everything they criticize about you. And then circle the ones related to communication and persistence. Step number 2, reframe these as sales skills, right? So too many questions, needs or discovery expert. Won't take no for an answer, reframe that as objection handling. Argues too much, negotiation specialist. Step number 3, target sales positions. Look for jobs with these keywords: consultative selling, complex sales, solution-focused, 6-figure earning potential. Lead with your difficult strengths in interviews. Don't apologize for these traits. Frame them as your competitive advantage. You're gonna do such a better job of being yourself. Any minute you waste trying to be someone else, you will fail. Even though I've been through having my car repossessed while I was selling cars because I was so broke, even though I once had to move back in my parents because I had lost everything, it was when I leaned into my natural skills that other people assume were personality defects. It was when I did that I discovered sales and everything changed. If you want to turn your difficult personality into a 6-figure income, I've come up with a free guide. Doesn't cost any money. It's a 7-step blueprint to breaking into sales without any experience or college degrees. It shows you exactly how to leverage your personality to maximize your earning. There's a link in this description if you have any questions. I appreciate you watching. I'll catch you later.